And now for our next news special report.
Today, we bring you a story that will leave you shocked and outraged. In a recent Homeland Security Committee hearing, a grieving mother, Josephine Dunn, took the stand to share her heart-wrenching tale of loss. Her daughter's life cut short by the deadly grip of fentanyl. But what unfolded in that hearing room was nothing short of disgraceful. Imagine for a moment a mother who flew across the country on her daughter's birthday, hoping for answers, accountability, and a chance to prevent more tragedy, instead facing the cold shoulder of a top Democrat, Dan Goldman. His behavior, his arrogance, and his utter disrespect for this grieving mother will leave you seething. But Josephine Dunn, she stood tall, she stood strong, and she nailed him with a dose of reality that he never saw coming. This is a story that exposes the shocking truth about our border security, the fentanyl crisis, and the need for strong leadership. Stay tuned because you don't want to miss the final thought on why this matters to every American citizen. It's a report you cannot afford to ignore. Before we dive deeper into the story, a quick word from our sponsors who make this news possible. Okay, we can't do it without them, without the support of them. So let's talk about something that's affecting millions of Americans, excess belly fat. It's more than just an appearance issue. It's linked to serious health problems. That's why I want to introduce something remarkable. It's a solution that helps reduce fat storage, speeds up fat breakdown, supports weight management, curbs cravings, and boosts metabolism. It's thoughtfully formulated with science-backed ingredients, and the best part, you can get it for a whopping 51% off for the rest of the month or until they sell out, whichever comes first. Visit trimwithgary.com, the link's in the description, and take control of your health today. Now, let's get back to the urgent matter at hand, the shocking treatment of Josephine Dunn in that disgraceful hearing. So as we delve into the heart of this shocking story, let's first set the stage for what transpired during the Homeland Security Committee hearing. Josephine Dunn, a mother who had lost her beloved daughter Ashley to a fentanyl overdose, traveled from Arizona to share her grief, her concerns, and her desire for answers. This was not just any hearing. It was a moment for our leaders to hear the voices of those directly affected by the failures of border security. Now let's take a closer look at the pivotal moment during the hearing.
He took an oath to defend and protect the Constitution and the American people, air, land, and sea from enemies, foreign and domestic. Ms. Dunn, do you believe he violated that oath?
Yes, sir. I flew from Arizona to meet him and face him and ask him why. And he's not here today. I did not know that until after I landed yesterday.
And he doesn't have the decency to even show up.
That is correct.
And talk to you personally.
Today is my daughter's birthday. I would have much rather been home with my poor husband grieving her. I didn't need to be here today. So whatever he's doing, I hope it's more important than that.
Let me say I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Because apparently the secretary doesn't care to show up and say that to you.
No.
Alejandro Mayorkas, AWOL, at his own hearing. So Josephine Dunn saw her eyes full of pain, revealing that she flew from Arizona to confront the Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. But to her shock and dismay, he wasn't even present at the hearing. On top of that, it was her daughter's birthday, a day meant for remembrance and mourning. And she didn't need to be there, but she came, driven by the hope of making a difference. She couldn't hold back her tears. You heard her say it, that she would rather been home with her husband, grieving the loss of their daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a heart-wrenching scene. It lays bare the stark indifference of those entrusted with our national security. Josephine Dunn and others like her came to express their concerns to prevent more tragedies and to hold our leaders accountable, as we are supposed to do in this great republic. Instead, they were met with empty chairs and disregard. Now let's move on to the shocking behavior of Representative Daniel Goldman during the hearing. Watch.
Here really to share your story, but you're being used as a fact witness for an impeachment investigation, and obviously, given what your experience has been, you don't have the background to understand what a high crime misdemeanor is and how it relates to this. And so I hope that you're handling that okay. One of the things that the chairman said at the beginning of his opening statement was that he wishes that Democrats would turn our sympathy into action, and quite ironically said thoughts and prayers are not enough. At first, I thought we were at a gun violence hearing where we were talking about the repeated thoughts and prayers of the 2 mass shootings that happen every day. But I do want to just go through some of the actions, as the chairman pointed out, turn sympathy into action. Because I assume, Ms. Dunn, you would agree, would you not, that it would help to stop the fentanyl trade and fentanyl trafficking from coming into this country if we had more law enforcement officers at the border and more resources and technology to stop the fentanyl from coming in? Do you agree with that?
I disagree with that because Border Patrol is now being used to make sandwiches and to screen people and let them into our country.
Okay, well,
So I disagree with you.
So you're saying that you're upset because the Border Patrol is not doing is making sandwiches, I think you said. So you don't think it would be helpful to have more Border Patrol officers who are charged with stopping the fentanyl trade?
I would like the Border Patrol to be able to do the job that they were hired to do.
Well,
Every Border Patrol officer that I have spoken to has told me that their hands are tied by this administration and Mr. Mayorkas. I've been to the border, sir. Have you? Have you?
Excuse me. I'm asking the question.
I'm just wondering.
And the problem with that is that in Congress, this Congress, we have interviewed 9 senior officials under DHS in a variety of different capacities. Every single one of them has said that it would be helpful to provide more resources at the border to stop the flow of fentanyl coming in. And that is actually exactly what President Biden has done. In last year's budget, fiscal year 2023, the appropriations included 300 additional U.S. Border Patrol agents, which was the first increase since 2011. Included 125 more CBP officers, $70 million for non-intrusive inspection, and 200 House Republicans, including every single Republican serving at the time who currently sits on this committee, voted against that bill. Under the Biden administration, the Department of Homeland Security has seized more fentanyl and arrested more criminals for fentanyl-related crimes in the last 2 years than in the previous 5 years combined. And even in this Congress, when we had the Department of Homeland Security appropriations markup, Mr. Correa offered an amendment that would provide more money and more resources for the border to stop the fentanyl trade, and every single Republican voted it down. But that's not it. Even with the supplemental request from the White House, they requested $1.2 billion to crack down on the trafficking of dangerous and lethal illicit drugs like fentanyl, including over $300 million for the most effective non-intrusive inspection systems. And of course, 90% of fentanyl comes through the ports of entry, so having those inspection systems would do it. Again, the Republicans will not support the border with additional resources to do the job that the Secretary wants to do. And so we are here yet again for a political stunt to make an argument that this administration is not doing anything, even as it is negotiating to try to address the problems at the border, and even as it is trying to increase the number of border agents and technology to address the fentanyl system. Let's stop this sham impeachment hearing, and let's go negotiate with the Senate and the White House, who are doing that right now with Secretary Mayorkas to address the problems at the border. I yield back.
Yeah, right. So in the video you just witnessed, Daniel Goldman's disgraceful treatment of Josephine Dunn, and Angel Mom seeking answers, starts by condescendingly suggesting that she's being used, implying that she lacks the intelligence to make her own choices. Then he questions her understandings of high crimes and misdemeanors. in the context of impeachment. But Josephine Dunn wasn't about to be silenced or belittled. She brilliantly responded, highlighting how the Border Patrol was being misused as sandwich makers for illegal aliens, a damning indictment of the failed policies that have put our nation at risk. She exposed the truth that more people processing only speeds up the influx of illegal aliens. Dunn's courage and intelligence shone through, leaving Daniel Goldman speechless and stuttering, just reverting to his talking points. She was there to seek answers and demand accountability, not to be treated as a pawn in a political game. So, ladies and gentlemen, this hearing was supposed to be an opportunity for our elected officials to listen, learn, and act in the best interest of the American people. Instead, we witness arrogance, disrespect, and a shocking disregard for the concerns of a grieving mother and others affected by the fentanyl crisis and border insecurity. Now let's return to the main narrative, where we must address the broader implications of this disgraceful behavior. It's not just about Josephine Dunn and Daniel Goldman. It's about the state of our nation's security and the urgent need for change. The hearing was a clear example of how certain individuals in positions of power are more focused on political theatrics than on addressing the real issues that matter to the American people. All they do is point fingers. Oh, it's their fault. Oh, it's their fault. Daniel Goldman, like Secretary Mayorkas, failed to recognize the gravity of the situation. Fortunately, there was a glimmer of hope amidst the debacle. House Republicans on the committee sent a powerful message by voting to impeach Mayorkas for his dereliction of duty. It's a bold step, but a necessary one to ensure that those responsible for securing our borders and protecting our citizens are held accountable. The truth is, our country is facing a crisis. The fentanyl epidemic is claiming lives, and our border security is at risk. We need leaders who prioritize the safety and security of our citizens over political posturing. We need to return to the strong leadership exemplified by former President Donald Trump. Josephine Dunn's bravery and resilience remind us that the American spirit is unbreakable. She sought answers, and she exposed the shortcomings of our current leadership. It's a stark reminder that we must demand more from our elected officials, regardless of party affiliation. So why does this story matter to every American citizen? It matters because it highlights the need for accountability and transparency and strong leadership in government. It matters because it sheds light on the fentanyl crisis that continues to devastate families across the nation. It matters because it reminds us that our voices can and should be heard, even in the face of disrespect and disregard. As we conclude the special report, remember the name Josephine Dunn. Remember her courage and determination to seek the truth. And remember that we, the American people, have the power to hold our leaders accountable and demand a brighter, safer future for our nation. If you found value in this report, tap subscribe, stay informed, and join the conversation about the urgent issues facing our republic. And now, my final thought. In the wake of this disgraceful Homeland Security Committee hearing, Daniel Goldman's condescension and disrespectful treatment of Josephine Dunn, a grieving mother seeking answers, are a testament to the political gamesmanship infecting our government. His dismissive attitude towards the fentanyl crisis and border insecurity is a slap in the face to suffering Americans. Alejandro Mayorkas' absence demonstrated shocking indifference to real problems. He lacks the commitment to secure our borders and protect our citizens. This isn't about political affiliation. It's about holding our leaders accountable. America deserves better. We need leaders prioritizing safety over partisan agendas. It's time to demand change, accountability, and a return to principled leadership that puts America first. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Now keep up your quest for truth with this next news report. And if you found our channel enlightening, join the millions who agree with you. Tap subscribe. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.